It's on. That's a modern version of is this thing on?
Right.
Or is it on Zoom? Can everybody hear me? Am I on mute? You're on mute. They've been trying to mute me for decades and it hasn't worked yet. Hello, everyone. You better make some noise. I know this is not the most, the way that we all want to gather. This is not the Super Bowl party yet. We're here to celebrate the life of one of our warriors in life, Billie. So, first of all, I'm Tiffany Woods. My wife Bridgette is over there. I'm a past Empress of Alameda County, and I've known Billie since 1994. And we are going to send him home today in community style, the way that we send our community warriors home. So what we just really want to do is start this off a little bit, welcome everybody, and let you know we're going to have some food, have some drinks, have some community socializing, and then we will have some story sharing. And we're hosting. So first of all, Joan doesn't have anything to say.
We also have a memory book up on the table up here for you guys to sign in and write a story about Billie. And we will hang on to that, and we will end up sending that along with hopefully his club vest and some other things to either LA&M or Vi and Jill. And so if you guys can fill that out and write down some story about Billie that you have, it's over on that back table.
And just, I'm the current president of ACLC, and thank you all for coming today and sharing with us the love that we have for Billie. But eat. All of us brought lots and lots of food. Some of it's warm and getting cold. So please go put a lot of food in, and then we'll start the talking.
And it's going to be just very casual. We just want to... Billie was love, he was laughter, and he was community. And so we're going to combine all three today. And we're going to send him home in Alameda County style. All right, so get some food.
One more thing. In case any of you leave earlier or do, whatever. There was a service that the church provided, Reverend Linda's here, and she has provided with us a recording of that service if you weren't able to get in on Zoom, and I will test it and make sure that it works, and then I'll send it to others who would like to have it forwarded to them, and they could see the fabulous service and words that were shared on that day.
I will just tell you, Bridget and I watched the Zoom at home yesterday in Sacramento. It's a three video montage with singing and music, and it's a full box of tissue memorial in an hour and a half. I'm just telling you, a full box we went through. So, but it is powerful and uplifting, and I'm glad that they're making it available to share. All right, food, cocktails. We did not bring big gulps or sodas, which was Billie's kind of thing, because it's a bar, and none of us at our age need all that soda and big gulps, yes, we don't need all that. So have a big gulp at some point down the road on the way back to your travels and drink heartily to Billie. But today we're going to have some cocktails and some food. So I want to see everybody start moving their way back there, and we'll be back up. And we started, what time is it now? A little after 2, right? Because we know. 2-ish, Turf Club style, 2-ish. Joan, that's so kind of gay, 2-ish. I know, so 2-ish. All right, be back in a bit. Okay. We're going to start the sharing portion. So I hope everybody got some food. I got a bite of a sandwich. Maybe two. I'm good at getting 2 bites. And I felt like I was back in 95 when I was Empress. And I'd get 1 bite of food and then they'd rush me out. What did we have, 7 bars back then? 6 bars. You'd come here. Then you did Driftwood. Then you did Rumors. And then you did Bill. It was crazy. I never got to eat. Never got to finish a glass of wine or a beer. I hope they're not still sitting there. All right, everyone. So first of all, let's get this going. Whoever brought The vegetable trays, our age group appreciates that. Our physicians and medical providers appreciate that. Baillie would not have appreciated that. Baillie would have ignored that shit and went right off to the other side. Not touching that. Not touching that at all. Really quickly, we have Andrew's over here doing the video. This will be posted on YouTube. If you do not want to see yourself on YouTube, then let us know, and Andrew will cut that part, and that won't be in the final edited version on YouTube. And many of you are on YouTube, and probably not for the best safe viewing, but that's another webinar, as we say now at work. That's another webinar. That's another Zoom. We all have stories. We have all stories in life, and if you have been around Baillie, you have a story. Again, let me introduce myself for folks that come in. I'm Tiffany Woods, Empress 16 from Alameda County. And Baillie originally got involved in the court circuit in the 94 in Monterey and San Jose, and then migrated up to Alameda before he got involved in the leather community, which the leather community in Alameda kind of started because of the court. We kind of let you all go off and do your thing before you started getting to court in trouble and said, oh, here's your titles. We did that in 93, 94. I think, here's your titles. Go do your thing and not get our nonprofit status pulled because y'all doing stuff on stage that the queens are not doing. It's a whole other story. You should interview me for the Oral History Project. Yes. All right. So Baillie has a long history in Alameda County of community service, of community leadership, and we want to recognize that today. And he has been in service in his last few years with the church and beloved church that he was involved in. And so, as we do in community style, we send our own off in fun and laughter. And I know this is a sad occasion. This is a gut punch. This is one we've all been to. We can't even count. I mean, we all hit those celebration of lives, like the 40th, especially those of us who lost so many in the AIDS epidemic, where you hit that last one and you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you just stop going. Those one that leave you with that hole in your soul. David Barker was one for me. He was one of the last ones I did. And I used to do these all the time because I did stand-up comedy back in the day. And so everybody was like, Tiffany will make us laugh. And then at some point, it's hard to laugh anymore because it's not funny. But Baillie was laughter. And Baillie would want us to not sit here in our cocktails crying. We can sit at home with our glass of wines and cocktails and do our private moment. But today is about laughter. It's about sharing. It's about Baillie's love for community. It's about community gathering in sharing today. So, and we would not be able, and I cannot go further without this, none of this community here in Alameda County would be possible without Larry Gray and the Turf Club. And Larry has always been there, continues to be there. And when Larry is going to be called home to the ancestors someday, I don't know what we're going to do. But Hayward they're going to have to shut down Hayward. There'll be so many people traveling from all over the country back home because this is home. Bridgette and I now travel from Sacramento back home, and it seems like only for reunion. The last time we were here was Hazel. We sent her home. And Danny, we sent Danny home. And so we all eventually go home to the ancestors. And it's time for others to carry on. So we're going to carry on for Baillie today. And so one of the things I just want to share is that in the 90s when Baillie used to travel around with me. If those of you who know my history, and some of you I'm looking at, you know who you are, even though you got your gray beards and bald spots, I was known for getting hurt. Falling off stage. I always had I have knee surgery now, knee replacement, but I used to do Janet Jackson on stage and Paula Abdul, and I'd get hurt and never know when my knee would go out. And so Baillie was always there to keep me safe from falling off the stage. He was always off to the stage taking tips or whatever because I would so get into the number. And then we would travel to Stockton and Modesto and Fresno. We'd help put their coronation weekends on. And Baillie was I was teaching stand-up comedy at nighttime, so I wasn't working full-time, and Baillie wasn't working. And so Bridgette decreed Baillie was my bodyguard because I tended to upset some people on the microphone. And I might be in Fresno at a bar at a show, and some queen would come up and be upset at something I said weeks ago, and Baillie would be like, I'm sorry, did you have something to say to her? He would just step right in, and he was known as Gigi back then. And we're going to recognize the whole person that Billy was in his life. And he was known as Gigi, this butch, I don't know what everything is off the table now, apparently, and call it lesbian, dyke, different identities, but that was Gigi then, before he transitioned into Billy, and the man that we know today and that we're missing and grieving and celebrating. But Gigi was just always there at the leather and my bodyguard, and then I'd be like, okay, let's go do this. And she's like, nope, Bridgette won't let you do that. And I'm like, Bridgette won't know. It's like, I'm not going to lie to Bridgette. I'm like, I will. He's like, and that's why I'm here, because I won't. And I'm like, well, Bridgette doesn't have to know. You never see that commercial where they go, this is the mom and the daddies dropping off airplanes and sky jumping with the kids and everything. And the kids, it says, don't tell the other mom. Yeah, that was me. And it's still that way with us. But with Billy, it was like, I'm like, don't tell Bridgette. I have to tell Bridgette. And so we'd get home and I'd end up getting hurt. And I'd come limping. And Bridgette was like, Billy? So I turned my back. She went to the bathroom. Next thing I know, she was hurt. It was not my fault. So that was like our adventures throughout California and the Central Valley and being of service to other communities when we were building up the court circuit. And I missed those adventures. And so it's about the adventures right now that you have all had with him, because we've all shared different adventures. So come up, whoever wants to come up and share. Now, did you have something you want to share? Not now? You going to wait? Okay, who wants to share? It's a free open mic. Remember, though, if you don't want anything to be said on YouTube, let Andrew know. All right, Rick, I'm going to hand this off to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm the former emperor of Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley, and Monterey County. Monterey County was dissolved, and we took them on. Gosh, I can go on forever. Anyway, Gigi, Billy, was a great friend of ours, there all the time. One of those workhorses that she's like, oh, she's going crazy again. But many years, the 90s, I started back in 1981. No, 1980. And I was in a closet ball. And because I'd never done anything before, and many years happened. He came around in the court circuit, loved him to death, loved her to death. So you touched on all the wonderful things that we've gone through. In the ALC? Is it ALC? ACLC. And the leather court circuit. The leather circuit, they matched and did a lot of things along with us. There were many big celebrations where we were married together and did other did events and then like prides and all around the Bay Area. I have been a person of the Bay Area all my life. Lived in San Francisco for 24 and a half years. Before that, I was hanging out in all the clubs here. Like you said, 10 or so clubs here. And in San Jose, they used to have like 15. Now there's 2.5. But he was a great force. A person who knew what to do, knew when to do it, got it done. And we need people like that. The workhorses are the ones that do it all but are never thanked. I know that because I was one of the workhorses back in the early 80s and the 90s and 2000s and so on. I just want to say thank you from all of us who have made it happen to one who made it happen. That's big. Those who do it and don't get thanked need to be thanked. I want to thank all of you that are the same, who make it happen and never get thanked. Thank you very much. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Gigi.
Thank you. Okay, who's coming up? We're not going to make this... that's always awkward, like nobody wants to share. Okay, here's a quick story. I think it was the 96 Alameda County leather contest. The first one up on B Street at the hall. Jay and Yvonne were really involved back then. If y'all remember, shout out Jay and Yvonne. And I was helping build the stage and doing all the backstage. And Billy and I were doing backstage and getting the contestants ready and everything. So we're building the stage. And what I didn't know ahead of time was that Bridgette had told Jay not to let Tiffany touch any power tools. Nothing. Not even a nail gun. Not even a staple gun. Like, what the hell? Who gets hurt with a staple gun? Me. So I didn't know that. So we're staging the thing, and I saw the staple gun. I was all excited, and I went to go grab it. And Billy got there right before me, took it away, and said, nope. Bridgette said. I said, Bridgette's not here. It's like, not only did Bridgette tell me, Bridgette told Jay, you are not to touch it. That's not a power tool. It's a trigger. It's a power tool. So I wasn't even allowed to touch a staple gun. I'm still not allowed at home. My daughter, who's 15, has picked up that. She trusts her more with the staple gun than I do. And that was a really great competition where we all got together and just really put on a fabulous... I think it was one of the first where we all, the Dougals and the court and the leather all came together to put on one big show as a community, supporting each other. Before, it was just kind of the courts and we were all doing our separate thing. And that was when we really started pulling together as a community, and Billy was a part of that, integral of that, building that foundation of community support when we all really needed to pull together and not be in our silos. So, anybody else? Come on. Larry, do you have any stories to share? Come on. Let us know who you are, because sharing is caring.
I'm Pony, Mr. Alameda County Leather 2010. I just want to share, I got to know Billy during my title year. He served on my committee, the Title Holders Contest Committee, with my Sash White Trinity. And I was just amazed about his passion, his hard work, his loyalty. He kept us focused. He was there for us, took care of us. Billy also had names for us. We were L and L. I was late, and Trini was called Lost. So he always said, where's late and where's lost? I was always late coming to events and meetings, and Trini was always losing things. Eyelashes, her sash, pumps. So it was this beautiful thing to have Billy on board with us. And the one thing I know about Billy is that he never really took a break from the community, from ACLC. When he held a title or he was office as president or he was on a committee, he was always there. His passion, building us up, never taking a break, never stepping back. He was always, the Mac in the back who made things happen. His passion, his loyalty, it inspires all of us, inspires me to this very day. And we're all wishing him a very, very peaceful journey. Billy is one of many who is God's living proof that there are angels. God bless you, Billy. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey, y'all. I'm Beth Elliott, Ms. Alameda County Leather, 1993. And F word, does that make me feel ancient? I don't really have any stories about Billy, because one thing Billy did, and the person Billy was, he just pitched in and worked and did a lot of stuff and was not flashy about it. But I do remember when as Gigi, he first showed up here, and I'm thinking, wow, we've pulled people in from Monterey. And that was at a time when all the leather action was in San Francisco. Everyone went into San Francisco for the weekend. And all the people from here, from Sacramento, from Monterey, obviously, from the South Bay, who just started hanging out together and doing things together, and just broke the mold on that, made a different model where you can live your life. You don't have to, just be in San Francisco and wish you were out in the suburbs or something like that. And Billy had such a kind heart, always had a smile, and he just did so much. And it's too soon for him to be gone. Can I say that's one, as everyone said, this one bites. In both sense of the word, is that it grabs you by the teeth and that it metaphorically bites. Rest in peace, Billy. You know you're going to be remembered.
Pat, come on up. And I want to say we're going to end once the story sharing is over. We're going to do it in Alameda County Turf Club style. We're going to end up with a cheers. There's everybody have a drink and glass. We're going to do a toast. And then we're going to do a moment of noise. We're going to take this party up because that's our tradition here. And I do want to say, I do want to apologize for not wearing any leather before somebody comes for me. Because that COVID weight is real. And this middle age thing, because I'm going to be 59 this year. That's where you all chap and say, go girl, because that cover girl's working. All right. So yeah, none of my leather's fitting anymore. So I'm like, I'm feeling like little, like, but I have my Empress ring on, so we're going to represent the different communities. So what are you going to share?
I'm Pat Baillie, IMSL 1995. So Beth, I know what you mean about the retro dates there and all that. But probably what a lot of you don't know is I was Baron of Santa Cruz in 1995. So I was part of this whole little gaggle that became San Francisco, Alameda, San Francisco. We ran around, we did food drives, we did voter registrations as I went into my title year, as about Leather Women Together. And what the funnest part that I can remember with Billy was when we had our first big show down in Santa Cruz. We had some hall that we got, and I wanted to do the opening number with my motorcycle on the stage. Now, if any of you have ever worked with motorcycles on stages and backstages, you know there is no room back there. And Billy helped get it out there. It got it started. When we started it up at the opening part of the number, when I came out for my opening, we totally gassed the whole backstage because it just charged with all that. Trying not to get it too hot so it could get it off stage. But Billy made that happen. And Billy made things happen year after year after year. We connected back up when we got to IMSL when we were down in San Jose again. And just the memories and the fun. It was like when there was something to do, Billy got it done. And I thank him for that. And I thank all of you for coming here and taking that moment of risk of going, is it going to be okay? Are we going to be all right together? And for remembering. So thank you.
So the Santa Cruz Dike-Off, and again, this is language we used in the 90s. The Santa Cruz Dike-Off that we were all putting on. So you had the motorcycle on stage. So what we did, I won it the first one. I think I won the first Dike-Off. So what we did was we had the drag queens, kind of a switch on turnabout, right? Turnabout or closet ball. So we had the drag queens compete to be a leather dyke. So picture that. I even have that, found the original flyers of the Dike-Off. Right, and so you had the motorcycle on the stage, and so we had they had to put together some motorcycle part together in 2 minutes on stage. So they did put it together, and then there was Birkenstocks, yeah.
Birkenstocks were there. That was the winning combination.
Yeah, you had to wear a dress and Birkenstocks, and they did a number in Birkenstocks, and then the winner got a pair of Birkenstocks. Yeah, it was hilarious. It was super fun and campy, and we really put Santa Cruz on the map, right? And it became an annual thing for a couple of years, and it was that was the kind of fun that we did. But I remember that whole motorcycle on stage, because I was sitting on it, and then, the other thing is you had to sit on the motorcycle and look the part. And that was a little awkward for some of the queens, which is going to be real. But that's the kind of stuff we did back then. We had to be creative to get the community in and have fun, and we just kind of did it, and we raised money, and then, So thank you for all of that. Those were some what we would say pioneering time, but those were some innovative pioneering times that moved the community forward in a great way. And that was right before then you went on to be international IMSL. Yeah, and she never talked to me again after. I was a little people. I'm just a county title. She had an international title. It's a thing, right?
What a moved to New Mexico.
And you moved to New Mexico. Oh yeah, I forgot about that part. With a couple people. Are you still with those? No. Yeah, new people. U-Haul?
It was.
It was, okay. I'm not trying to stereotype, but I'm just, there's a reason they're still in business. Okay. Who else? Pat, are you back here? Are you?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, awesome. All right, come. So it's important to introduce because a lot of us don't know each other because we come from different generations.
Hi, most of you know me. I'm Sharrin Spector, and I am the now officially retired fourth producer of IMSL. So, but I am officially fucking retired, and that shit is good. Anyway, Billie. So I can talk a lot about Billie because of San Jose and owning a store in San Jose. And although Billie was a big member of Alameda County leather, they were also a really active participant in the San Jose leather community. And so we had lots of play parties in my shop and in the back room of Pure Sink, and we had some good times. And Tina's head is like, yeah, those were some very, very fun late nights. And oftentimes the party would end and we would still be playing, and someone would look at me and I was like, oh, well, until I want to go home, we can play. So keep me entertained. But when I took over IMSL, it was kind of a mess, and many of you know that. And I inherited a lot of staff, and I inherited a lot of community anger. And we had a very short period of time to produce an event. And Billie was like, whatever you need. Like, whatever you need, Sharrin. And I was like, I don't know what I need. And Billie's like, I'll just be there. And we had some meetings, and Billie always made sure to bring food because all meetings were better if there was food. And just throughout that, particularly that first cycle, I could just turn to Billie and say, I need this, and it would just happen. And I don't know who to, no, you call this person, Sharrin, they'll give you what you need. Or like, it was like having my own private little Google Rolodex. And it saved my ass, in a lot of ways. And, it takes a village to make an event. And a lot of people don't see the people behind the scenes. And Billie wasn't the head of a department or wasn't the head of any one department, but was like on 5 different teams and helping everybody and doing the logistics and all the stuff that make this stuff happen. And then when we got there day one, Billie was like, we did it. Hey, how about that? Let's have a good time now. And I was like, yeah, we thank you. We really did do it. Because all the stuff was there, and everyone, there was food for the staff because Billie brought it. That first day, Billie brought food, enough pizza to feed the entire IMSL staff. Because he knew that all of us were thinking about all the other things that had to get done, and we weren't thinking about our stomachs and actually having the energy to do all of the things. And so for me, I'm really grateful. I'm really, really super grateful that soul got to touch my life, and that I got to experience Big Billie and Little Billie and Joyful Billie and Angry Billie and my being pissed off at Billie and Billie being pissed off at me, and every emotion that I got to have with that spirit and that soul. And I am grateful for that, and I know that they were met joyously by the ancestors. So thank you.
We got angry Billy a lot, didn't we? We got sad Billy. So, Bridgette's kind of. I just also know it's okay to say, and this happened in the wonderful service, and I know we have Linda is here, who from the church, who did the wonderful service, and Linda, feel free to come up and say something. Billy wasn't a saint. None of us are saints. We all have our faults. We've all had our community moments. We've all had our anger and said things, and that's life. Life is complicated and messy, and our journeys are messy, and it's what we make of it and share. It's okay. You know, Billy often would take off for 3 years and not contact us. He also would show up and never leave. Like, so you got kicked out, the lease, what happened? Because it's been 3 weeks and you said you were spending the night, so what's really going on? Nyna knows all about that. Like, it's been about a year and a half, he was supposed to stay for 2 months. Like, we should have a conversation about that. Put your big gulp down and no, you can't go barbecue until we have this conversation. And let's figure it out and work it out together. So, you got something to say? This is Bridgette.
I had to warn her not to make me cry before I start. So I've known Billy, Javette, Gigi, Billy, B, my son, forever. But I have 2 stories that I want to share that are funny, so I won't cry. The first is at a coronation in Alameda several moons ago. It was not Tiffany's coronation. Billy was always part of the set crew. That was his forte. He was very good at organizing and getting people off their rumps to do what they needed to do. And he was part of the production crew during coronation. And I'm off to the side and I'm helping Tiffany. And we're I keep hearing this little sound. It's like, help, help. But I couldn't understand where it was coming from. And it was like every 3 minutes, not during a big promotion part of the coronation. It's like, help. And after like half an hour, I'm like, what the heck is that? And I go around and I'm shuffling behind the set and everything. And there's Billy, literally with full body against the wall, holding the entire set up for half an hour, quietly in the back going, help, help. Not to disturb the coronation. It was like so classic. I took like 10 people and we all went back and we put it up. But that's Billy. Billy's in the back holding it all up all the time. My second story is a Monterey story from Billy. When Billy was in Monterey, raise your hand if Billy has talked you into doing something you didn't want to do. Yeah, that's pretty much his life story. So in San Jose, he said, Bridgette, I want you to come down and help me with this fundraiser. And I wasn't a performer. That wasn't something I did. He's like, but I want you to be in this musical that I'm doing. It'll be so much fun. Just come down. Stay for a couple days. We'll practice for 2 days, and then we're doing this show. I said, well, that'll be fine. I'm like, it's a background thing, right? Said, oh, yeah, it's a background thing. Well, it was a full production, and my part was singing men in tights, along with 10 other people had no idea this was what we were going to do. We just had tights and things laid out, and we practiced for 2 days and did this whole number that's somewhere on video. I hope not on YouTube. But that's Billy also, getting you to do what you didn't want to do for a good cause. So those are my memories of Billy.
And boy, did Monterey need help. Can we just talk about that for a second? Because Monterey, like, y'all really got a court? Because it's really made up of the rest of us coming down to help. These little tiny shows they used to do in this bar. It was the one bar. It's like the night something. Remember that? But we went. Anyway, yes, Billy got us to do things that we never thought we would do.
He invited so many of his friends, and the place was packed. And Tina was there, quite a few. I remember Fawn. I don't know if Fawn is here. Rock was there. And so he started to break down. He was doing really good. And then he started to break down, and everybody wanted, just to let him be. But Tina saw something that he needed. He needed just this, just a little hand on the shoulder. And he immediately, pardon? He just came back. He had frozen. And just that beautiful moment of friendship and love and deep depth. So I wanted to share that with you, with me here, because I know he thought so highly of you, and I know you went through a lot, and he talked about you a lot, the love, the deep love, the memories. So thank you so much for being that for him, and for coming and being there when he needed you at that beautiful moment that he was opening up with everybody. Yeah. Yes. We were all very aware of his journey from the beginning, and he got a lot of love and acceptance from us. And I just love being here with all of you. It just feels so good. Thank you very much. And I do have to leave. Thank you so much.
You have to leave us?
Yeah.
Okay. Safe travels. Do we have other sharers? Anybody else? Yeah? Come on. I'm loving the colors. You got it? Okay.
Hi, I'm Deborah Hoffman-Wade, and I miss Alameda County 2009. So I'm going to talk about fierceness. Because if you ever saw Billy mad, there's a mad face, and I can't do it. Which I saw when it was our title year, and I was supposed to go to San Jose to the dungeon that was in San Jose. Beautiful dungeon. For some reason closed like 2 weeks after that. But went to it, and Billy and I went. It was something that Billy set up. I got there, and the thing about being femme is always coming out to people, which is kind of normal. Which is, I'm not straight. And so when this straight guy did nothing but follow me around and touch me all the time, when I kept saying, no, don't do that, I have seen someone be fierce like Billy, protective again. Absolutely. And then the rest of the night, Billy was like in front of my boobs the whole time, making sure that nobody hurt me or was being inappropriate. And that's what I always remember of Billy. That and sitting at the what was the pizza place we always used to meet at? The Round Table, and doing meetings and planning for every event under the earth. So, thank you. May his memory always be a blessing, which is a Jewish thing.
It is. Always a blessing. And a few others? I just want to be mindful of the time, because we told Larry 3, and it's Super Bowl Sunday, and, stretch it. It's kind of like you stretch those drinks over the year. Just kidding. It's kid jokes. Just kidding.
Yeah, I got that a lot, actually. It was back in the day, a whole skit came of it as Know Your Negro. Because, they'd call me Billy, they'd call him Schon, and then there's a couple other folks. Well, there's not too many of us, so, it's not hard to tell us apart, really. But if you didn't know us, I kind of have the same shape, face, and it was never a problem, Billy was my bud. We did a lot of things together. I was a past president of ACLC. Went through a couple contests together. I'm going to miss the dude. We didn't see a lot of each other, but, that's how it is with friends. You don't have to see them every day or talk to them every day. But, when you do, it's like a homecoming. That's all of us getting here together like now, We haven't seen each other in, years, right? But yet, we're still family. And it's always that way, and we'll always love each other. And we don't have to see each other to love each other. But it's always nice to come together and like you say, have that community and bring it all back together and just kind of be with our chosen family here and just spread our love. So to my man Billy, you're the man. You're Billy. I'm Schon. And I won't mind at all if someone comes up from the past and says, "Hey, Billy," and they'll look at me because they'll kind of think, "I thought you were dead." That's all right. His memory lives on. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I thought we were pushing the boundary with the Dyke off in Santa Cruz. Know your Negro. Y'all bad. Hi. And you are? Come on. Hi, Kim. Y'all know Kim? Okay.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Girl Kim. I've known Billy for a long time as well, in many of his forms and formats, and one of them was as my daddy. So that's one of those things that goes on forever, and I will miss him. He was, one of the things about Billy, and you guys have already touched on this, is that he was always there for other people. Unfortunately, sometimes he didn't realize how valued and loved he really was. And so in this moment, I really hope that he has been able to hear some of this and actually feels the love that all of us possess for him, because I know that there were times when he didn't always feel that. And, a lot of people that work in this community don't always feel appreciated. And so, if nothing else, I hope that he hears how much he was appreciated and how much he was loved. And, lots of laughter, lots of tears. And I will tell you, so yes, he was my daddy, but I also knew him as a boy. And we had this one scene, and it was hysterical. He was a boy and I was a girl, and we were little, and all of a sudden he started screaming, "Jews!" in the middle of the dungeon. Now, I'm a good girl. I was like, no, stop, shh. I was trying to get away from the scene of the crime as he was literally screaming, "Jews!" He and I laughed for years. I would just be like, "Jews!" and we would both start just crying. So, everybody that's here, thank you for coming out. I know that he's heard all of this, and I really hope that he has had a chance to feel the love, because a lot of times on this earth we don't always. And I know that he's impacted so many people, so many organizations for so many years, so quietly behind the scenes. And because of that, there hasn't always been that level of recognition. At the same time, I think we've heard that for the last 30, 40 years, he has been a very intimate part of a number of organizations, and that a lot of hearts are breaking today. So, Billy, Daddy, I wish you well, and I hope that you know how loved you were.
Thank you. But that's what chosen family is, right? When we come, many of us, and I could say a lot of us, over decades, way before the 90s and the 80s and 60s, all the way 60s, searching for community, searching for that chosen family, ending up at a bar like the Turf Club, ending up at, Savoy in San Jose, or pick a bar in a city across this country, kind of coming in the dark and trying to find out who you are and navigate that journey and being accepted for who you are. We all come into this community with baggage and trauma, right? Sometimes it never heals. But that chosen family heals us. It starts putting us back together. It starts creating that wholeness again. And I think that's what it's about, and that's what we take with us, right? And I really appreciate what you said, the other Billy. Says we come back together for these reunions. We used to see each other every week. And now every year or every other year. We come from different parts of the country and the state, but we all come back to celebrate each other. And it's like those relationships never left. And so again, I want to appreciate Larry for always letting us come home. We appreciate that because it feels like home. Thank you. Do we have any other shares? You got more? Nyna? About time. I love Nyna. We come in the back store. She goes, "Oh yeah, and here's Billy's storage unit bill." I'm like, what? What storage unit? Oh, okay. Tiffany and Bridgette will take care of that too.
Who knows? There is the storage unit though. Who knows what's in there? I'm a little afraid. Call me when you go to open it. Yeah, it's a little scary. Well, I know there are other people here that Billy has served, celebrated life with, done 1,000,001 things with. I want to say from a, current president point of view, Billy started ACLC, like I think it was 2006. Joan and I tried to dig through all the archives and all the information, so I think that's when it was. Billy was also president of the club and was so very, very, very proud of that. He was proud of every dime he raised, and he was proud to be like in charge and being big. And when we did the anniversary, I printed out the anniversary newsletter because he had his whole family come to that anniversary so he could show them, this is what I did this year, and I'm giving away money. And he just took an enormous amount of pride in that, as we all have and done. And he got the Lee Bell Award, which is one of our highest honors that we're able to give out for being of community service and reaching across and between multiple communities. And, that's one of those things I think it's evident today, that Billy for so many years reached out and crossed and bridged all kinds of communities, all these places, all these people with a joyous, wonderful heart and spirit and so much love. Billy also lived with me for, I had discovered he was in his car, living in his car, which was not the only time he did this, more than once. And I was like, oh no. Come stay with me until you are able to, get a place. And I don't know, a few years later, I was like, okay, I think actually one of my kids is going to have to live here. And Billy's like, that's okay, I'll live with them. I'm like, no, honey. So they went back to his car, and I was just like devastated that he was going to be back in his car. And I was like, you're killing me. But we went through some crazy ups and downs and times and around. And, I'm not telling where the bodies are buried, and Billy will never at this point tell where the bodies are buried, but we'll find out in the storage. Might be in the storage. But joking aside, I know some of you aren't going to be able to come up here and talk because it's hard to do, and usually I'm not doing it. But I did want to talk a little bit about the years of service and decades, and how amazing and wonderful Billy was. And I really appreciated all the moments I got, days and nights. It was funny because, Billy knew me well and would have Rock come over, would call Rock and be like, you have to come clean the house. Nyna's coming home. Nyna's going to be here, and somebody's got to clean the house, because it wasn't going to be Billy. Billy was going to be like, no, I can't do that, but, would make sure that the house was spotless. And so I had to laugh, and Rock was like, yeah, I've cleaned Nyna's house so many times because it had to be, clean when I got there. Billy didn't want to disappoint me, didn't want me to be unhappy when I came home. It wasn't that I was, super strict mean lady or anything. So it was, we had so much entertainment and laughter. We produced so many contests together. Yeah. And I used to tease him, he liked a little bit of coffee in with his milk and sugar. I mean, the first time I was on the other side of that, of like, I'm going to get you coffee, because he was always getting my coffee. I was like, okay, so what am I doing? And he was like, okay, like 3/4 milk, practically, yeah, so many pumps of sugar. I was like, what is this? He was like, this is my coffee. I'm like, you're going to die when you drink this. I can't imagine how sweet this is, but loved sweets. Oh my God, love sweets. We were always lucky to do things together. Always brought the food, We'd start our contest in the morning, preparing, doing the work. And the donuts would come in, and the things from McDonald's, the Macs, they were just loaded with sugar. I was like, oh my God, okay, well, we're going to have a lot of energy here. We're going to get shit done because we are pumped. That was pretty entertaining. Anyway, as we've all said, love the Billy. And we'll miss the laughter and the joy and, all the good times we shared. And please, all of you, come say, a few words. I know you all have had wonderful memories. Be nice to have them recorded. We don't want to lose our history. Billy was one of the few people of color that made the world safe and a place, to come home to and be together. And that made a huge difference for lots of other people. So I'm gonna be handing the mic over because I have somebody coming this way. And thank you all. Oh, and thank you for the food. The food was amazing, and Billy would have loved it. You brought all the food Billy loved. Hamburgers, pizza, mac and cheese. I was like, this isn't just regular food. This is all Billy food. All the food that Billy absolutely loved. The only thing we didn't have was ice cream, but hey, that would have melted by now. Cougar?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Most of you know me. I'm Queen Cougar. And as I was listening to everything, earlier I thought, well, I'm not going to say anything today, because if you thought about the amount of hours that I might have spent with Billy in his life, is very few. But it was so much quality to it that as I've heard what everyone's had to say, I felt like I needed to put something out there. Particularly because, as was mentioned earlier, we don't even realize sometimes the value of how important it is, the individual people of color that we have in this community. We don't talk about it all the time because we're not here about the color. We're just here about being who we are. But the reality is, it's beautiful when you can look next to you and there's somebody being their full selves. And that's what Billy's life was about. He was being his full self. And it was a very beautiful thing, because the situations that I came into contact with Billy, he was in complete service mode to the community, to individuals. But service is a beautiful, important, and rich thing. It's valuable, and we need the people like Billy in our lives to make things happen, to make things go. We can't all be big time ego driven, tops. And even though this community is loaded with them. And so the situation with me, I wore this top today because it shows my scar. I had an accident at work about, I guess, now it's been 7-8 years ago. I fell and I broke my arm. I broke my shoulder, and tore ligaments. I messed myself up really bad. And I had to have some serious surgery. And at that time period, a lot of things bad happened. I got Ellis acted out of my apartment, my house in Noe Valley, and all sorts of things. But people from the community came to help me. And they really showed up for me. And then when it was time for me to have my surgery, I had to move in with my mother. And that was not a pretty thing because my mother, she's 90 right now. She has not been my best buddy all these years. I'm very respectful of the fact that right now we have come together in a way that we haven't all my life. And I guess we bump heads because we're both intense, dynamic type women. But the bottom line was I had to move in with her, and people from this community came to save me. And Billie was one of them. The day of my surgery was quite a serious day. And I needed somebody that could deal with my mother, who has not really been in my life in the ways that my friends have been, but needed to be there because I was having some serious surgery. And Billie showed up. And Billie was not my submissive, but he showed up and he was with my mother 24/7 for several days. I had surgery. The surgery was longer hours than, they had planned it to be. And my mother was freaking out. And Billie was a champ. He was there for her. He helped her to be calm. He helped her talk to doctors. He helped her to deal. And I really appreciated that. Because, people can say whatever they like about who we are as people. And I've had to bump heads with people in my family about me being this, leather porno queen or whatever. And it has not been a pretty thing. But people like Billie helped them to understand that I could trust my firstborn or my mother with someone like Billie. And she felt like he was her son by the end of the weekend. Today, if this were not happening in this bar, she would be here. She loved him that much. She was so hurt when I told her that he had passed because she felt like he was the most beautiful person she had met of my friends in many years. And it was just purely because of the love that he shared with her. So believe me when I tell you that we need people like Billie in our lives, and we cannot take away from the value of we've had that opportunity. I'm appreciative that I got to spend the little bit of time I did with Billie. And I'm appreciative of all the times that he called me ma'am and showed up to assist someone doing something for me. And it's very valuable. It's very valuable, and I want it to be given its proper due. So with all due respect, I appreciate that I had that chance to be here today because, as we have seen in the last 2 years, nothing is given. Any of us could be gone at any moment. And I appreciated being able to come here today and see all of you because I miss you. Like we're going to miss Billie. He's gone. But we're going to have our memories. But I wanted to say, before we're all not here anymore, I love you. I appreciate you. You made my life. I got to be me, all of me. At different points, I have done some things that would make people's toes curl. And I have loved it. And it's because you give me that okay to be that person. And we gave Billie the okay to be him. And so I'm just appreciating him being the person that he was, being the person of color that he was, showing up like he did. And I'm just saying to you, I love you in advance.
I love you too, and I don't know you, but no, just kidding. Hey, even I knew about Queen Cougar over in the East Bay, and I was already in LA working on films and left the community. And I knew about her queen porn thing. I never told you, Bridgette. I kept up, making sure. My mother also wanted to be here today, and I think I really appreciate Cougar bringing that up because it was a gift that he had to transcend different generations. Billy went to our baby showers, my grandparents' out. Everybody loved Billy. My mother was very upset she wanted to come here today. Plus, it was a bar, so. But she would, and I was like, my mom has never been to the turf club with me. I mean, and if you remember, we all know what it was like back in when. If one person brought a mother to a family relative, man, we were just fawning all over them on stage. We 4-star treatment. We were rolling out and brought them on stage and made a huge deal, right? In the 90s. I remember, so I produced an award-winning documentary, Trans Francisco, and so she produced it, and my aunt Bridgette and I are in it and everything. So my mother surprised us with a limousine to the premiere at Frameline in 2010. And Billy rode in the limousine with my mom and my aunts and escorted them and just went to after party, and he was just amazing with my family. Memories, like just leave a little time, they just remembered for years. So she was very upset that she can come today. I also wanted another moment that maybe you all don't remember or don't know about, but when I was running the transgender program in Tri-City for many years, I produced the very first ever transgender healthcare in Alameda County in 2010. And Billy helped me, I asked him to help me put it on, and he was on a panel of trans men, and he was so proud. It's my profile and my picture because he was up there with he was the president at that time, Alameda County Leather. And he was just so proud to be in that space of these trans folks, you know. And in 2010 in Alameda County, putting on it, Congresswoman Barbara Lee was our keynote, and he was just so proud because he was really coming into himself. And this wasn't San Francisco. This was Oakland and Alameda County. And he was so proud to be a part of that space and help that historic event move forward. Any other shares before we move on to a closing? Okay. Oh, we got one in the back. One in the back. Hi. Come on.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Ms. V. Hello. Everybody has really touched on many of the things about Billy, but I just wanted to share something like just really personal that I remember about Billy. It was Billy's smile and warm hug. I always, just always in the background. Everyone touched on, Billy's generosity with his time and all the behind the scenes. But what I wanted to say is this, like being in the workings of IMSL weekend and just many of the weekends, but just like noticing like during IMSL weekend when patients were running short and things had to be done last minute or just I don't know. I'd be in panic mode. I'd walk up to Billy, and Billy'd always have a smile and a warm hug for me, but always like, we got this. We're going to be okay. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Okay. So we ready to wrap this up? One more? You coming? Or are you just stretching? You're just stretching your legs? I know what that's like. Gotta stretch them. Okay. We're going to wrap up with a little closing. All right. Let me grab... Hold on a second. So we're going to have a little tradition here. Actually, I'm going to grab my cocktail. Everybody grab a drink and a cocktail. All right. Now I got it. And Rick, I do really want to say one thing as the last words before we do this end. So you had written and reminded folks that Gigi was an imperial title holder for lifetime, the imperial czar to Emperor Brian Mangold. So Billy not only was the president, but was a lifetime imperial title holder. And as an empress, I didn't have to give him a title because he already had one. But you should know, and San Jose should know, that with Billy now back with Brian. Terry. So Brian was very close to Bridgette and I. Ended up taking care of him in the hospital for like 42 days. We took care of his dog. And one of our twin sons is named Brian after Emperor Brian. So he lives on every day, and he's just like him. It's a handful. So Brian's spirit is living on in Brian. So Billy and Brian are together again. So to shut up. Okay, so enough crying. We have enough crying. So everybody hold up your glass. To Billy. To Billy. May your memory be a blessing. And what we're going to do in the spirit of Empress 12 Trampolina Lopez, we don't say a moment of no silence. We're going to send him out with a moment of noise because there's enough silence in the world. And our community is all about being proud and loud and noise. And we have so many family up there that we're going to send him home to the ancestors and style. So on my count on 3, we're going to keep this noise going for a minute. A minute. Because that's nothing in life. It's a minute. I want you to cheer. I want you to stomp on whatever which your spirit moves you. But let's send him home. Ready? On 3, 2, 1. Woo! Woo! Yay! Woo! Billy! Woo! 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 Well done. Thank you, everybody. Safe travels home. Sorry, my bad. Joan and Nyna. I really want to thank Joan and Nyna and the Leather Corps for putting this together. They did all the legwork. Thank you so much. I don't know, you are treasures in this community. And I just want you to know how much we appreciate doing this. I just get to drive down and have fun on the stage, but thank you.
Billy was one of ours, and so where there was no way we were going to let his passing go unrecognized. And we tried to get as many people out into the world as we could, and we want to thank you all for coming and for sharing this time. Have a cocktail, hang out, tell some stories. I have this book, if you haven't signed it. It's a memory book for if you can't come up and talk like me. So here's this book.
Write in it.
Write in it. And thank you again.